their families, particularly if you live near any cities. The man who has led the way across the nation, starting with its biggest city, its biggest crime center, was Commissioner William Bratton. He tells that tale in Turnaround, how America's Top Cop reversed the crime epidemic. We have been talking, Commissioner, at the national level about, well, let me ask you that. Let me just start right there. How effective are national efforts in local, and it's hard to, when I say local, I mean like New York City. How effective is the national effort with local law enforcement, improving local law enforcement?
If utilized properly, they can be an integral and critical part of that overall effort. As you know, the new buzzword in policing is community policing.
Right.
And I'm a community policing proponent and advocate. And if I may just take a minute to explain what I see as the difference between community policing and what we've been doing for 25 years in this country. For 25 years, we were focused on using police to react to crime because we thought crime was a direct result of all these societal problems we were having, the economy, racism, poverty, demographics. And I didn't buy into that. My experience growing up in the police profession, I was not convinced that those were the ultimate causes of crime. And ultimately, over time, I think I'll be proven correct, myself and others who really feel that police can be held accountable for reducing crime and preventing it from reoccurring. But in the 70s and 80s, the belief was all the police could be expected to do was react to crime. We could not be expected to solve society's problems. That was up to society to solve them. In the meantime, police go chase 911 calls, make some arrests, get some clearances. That's the most we'd expect from you. Well, if you excuse somebody from having any responsibility for an issue, well, that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to focus on other things. And we measured our success by how well we reacted to crime. Community policing focuses attention on how much crime do you prevent. And that's where the federal involvement becomes critical, because the first element of community policing is partnership, that the local police, local criminal justice system, partnering up with state and federal entities, and the coordination of effort. In New York City, that partnering up was essential to some of the changes we made. For example, partnering up with the ATF and some changes in federal gun laws, we were able to eliminate about 95% of the gun dealers in New York City, many of them who were selling guns out of the trunks of their cars. So a phenomenal success story in drying up some of the legitimate availability of firearms in that city. Additionally, the Joint Terrorist Task Force with the FBI and local NYPD and state police has thwarted any number of terrorist incidents in New York City. So the feds, when appropriately used, can be of significant assistance. And I know the controversy over the 100,000 additional police that President Clinton has moved forward with Congress. I'm a big proponent of that because some cities definitely need more police. Boston was one, New York certainly. I benefited by the 7,000 extra police I had to work with that were funded locally, not federally initially. But those extra police, if they're used appropriately and properly, can also have an impact. But my own belief is that the real solutions for crime are at the local level, and that the federal efforts are really, they help, but they're not going to be the solutions in and of themselves.
That is a great definition, partnering up with the resources of the federal government as opposed to just giving them more cops, which is what we think of this, and are disheartened, and they obviously agree, it's just common sense that the more the better, but to the extent that...
Not necessarily, unless they're used appropriately. You can have 100,000 cops standing around like potted plants, but if you focus them and direct them, that you'll have the benefit. That's what was happening in New York. New York hired up a ton of new cops, but they were not being focused the way that Mayor Giuliani was elected and literally authorized the police to once again get back on the streets and take them back. his predecessor was fearful of the police and would never have allowed them to do what I was able to do with them during my time.
This is Dave Jenkins, and that's just
correct.
just where that's where I was going. The more, the better. If they can be sustained, the cost of them can be sustained once the federal program runs out, which isn't the case everywhere, and they are integrated in ways that you did in New York City and followed the strategy, some of which we've alluded to already. Let's take it from the top. Let's go right down to the precinct commander. Well, you're a great manager. In addition to being a great, courageous cop, you understand that you got to manage those guys, and the managers, and not only do they have to be rewarded, the managers of them have to be rewarded. Start there with the precinct command. What is it that, or what does it mean to empower the precinct commander?
Well, during my time growing up in the police organization, I'm somebody that always seeks out responsibility, and my frustration was usually centered around inability to make decisions, not being allowed to make decisions, that you had to send it on up high to get decisions made. So I always remembered what it was like to be a sergeant, lieutenant, and having to send things up the chain of command. When I came into New York City, following my experience in Boston, where I did the same thing, one of the major changes I brought about was in what are traditionally very hierarchical types of bureaucracies, controlled very tightly from the top, police organizations. I gave away a lot of my power, but I didn't give it down to the police officer on the beat as my predecessors had attempted to do, because the cop on the beat in New York City was about 22 years old, had recently been hired, 6 months in the academy, and no 22-year-old kid is going to solve the problems of inner-city New York. But that's we were expecting at least 7,000 new cops. Instead, I gave the power and responsibility to precinct commanders, 15 years on the job, college-educated, savvy to the political world of New York City, and said to them, look, here's your 300 cops in your precinct. You get out and meet with your neighborhood, find out what they want you to do with those cops, and then go do it. I'm not going to tell you how many put in radio cars, how many put in uniform, how many in plain clothes. As my predecessors had formulas that you could not have more than 4.2% of your personnel in plain clothes. Well, I've never seen a 2% police officer. He must be an awful sharp person. But that's the type of mindless bureaucracy that we had. So literally, I gave power away, but I wasn't born yesterday because I grew up in this system. I gave it away in exchange for results. You get crime down, you get fear down, you get citizen satisfaction up. If you got a problem in your neighborhood, while you may not be able to solve it without some outside assistance, some headquarters units, you better know that you got a problem and have strategies to deal with it.
There's a lesson here for the national bureaucracy. What the commissioners just described is devolution with accountability. Turnaround is the book. Commissioner William Bratton is the author. Random House is the publisher. We'll continue our discussion with the nation's top cop and how he reversed the crime epidemic in the Big Apple, a place you might want to go visit after this quick break.
Agriculture Commissioner proposes fund for tobacco. Good afternoon. I'm Matt Willoughby on the North Carolina News Network. North Carolina's Agriculture Commissioner says a fund should be set up for tobacco farmers who would be hurt by a national tobacco settlement. Commissioner Jim Graham presented his idea today during an address to the North Carolina Tobacco Growers annual meeting in Raleigh. Farmer Keith Parrish says any help is applauded, but there's no one plan endorsed.
There's a lot of proposals that are out there, a lot of bills that they claim will be dropped in the near future that are not on the table now. So we as the Tobacco Growers Association have not put anything down in stone that we're going to go with because it's not really time.
Other farmers are cautious about Graham's plan because the commissioner didn't outline the source of the fund. State prison officials oppose a proposal to double the size of the state's first two private prisons. The issue surfaced yesterday at a meeting of legislators in Raleigh. Some legislators supported doubling the size of two 528-bed prisons being built by U.S. Corrections Corporation in Avery and Pamlico counties. An investigating committee of the legislature will petition the courts for access to the medical records of a former DMV employee. Jay Joyner has the story.
Former DMV employee Algie Toomer says his supervisors arrest him. An attorney for Governor Jim Hunt authorized a $100,000 settlement to keep Toomer out of court. Toomer left work on a medical disability, but according to Legislative Committee Counsel Jan Pichelle, he applied for another state job saying he's not disabled.
If you're getting money from the state and that money is based on a disability, and in fact you are not disabled and you know you're not disabled, that's fraud.
The committee's also proposing a new law that would make misuse of the state employee disability system a special kind of fraud. Jay Joyner, Capitol Bureau, North Carolina News Network.
Things got back to normal today at Charlotte, North Carolina's Civil Courts building. A man showed up there with a bomb yesterday, and courtrooms of offices were evacuated. The man was from South Carolina. The device was disarmed early this morning. You're listening to the North Carolina News Network.
See your auto owner's agent. They are people just like you. There to guide us, standing by us, strong in every storm.
If you're age 50 or older, we can reduce the cost of your homeowner's insurance through auto owner's insurance. Statistics show mature homeowners have fewer and less costly losses. So it's only fair to charge you less. Insure both your home and car with us and qualify for more premium discounts and no problem protection through auto owner's insurance.
Auto owners, the no problem people.
For a no-problem approach to all of your insurance needs, auto, home, life, or business, see the No Problem people, your North Carolina Auto Owners Agency.
Auto owners, the no problem people.
2,200 Marines based in Camp Lejeune have been ordered to move from the Mediterranean Sea to the Persian Gulf. They're members of the 24th Marine Expeditionary Force. Lieutenant Colonel Patrick Savini of the Public Affairs Office in Washington says the Marines are a quick response.
Marines provide the opportunity and the capability for a amphibious ready group. They are the ground forces for that amphibious ready group.
The group consists of 4 ships and Super Cobra attack helicopters. Today, FBI agents made a new effort to locate Eric Rudolph. He's a potential witness in the bombing at an Alabama abortion clinic. Agents issued an open letter asking Rudolph to call them at an 800 number. The agents urged anyone who has had contact with Rudolph to relay the message to him or call the agents. They searched his former residence in Marble and his storage facility nearby yesterday. I'm Matt Willoughby in Raleigh on the North Carolina News Network.
1150 WGPR.
Friends, real life today chronicled in Turnaround how America's top cop reversed the crime epidemic. Commissioner William Bratton. Random House is the publisher. New York is the top cop, as the commissioner has already told us, is the reason it's called a top cop is because New York is the big city with the big crime. It was prior to...
Used to have the big crime.
Prior to Commissioner Bratton's tenure there, it was called the Rotting Apple, not the Big Apple, and I can remember the days, Commissioner. I mean, I used to go up there. I would have lived up there, and I had a little gig going on at NBC, but I was terrorized by these squeegee guys.
Mm-hmm. Squeegee pests.
Which is one of the, that's one of your strategies, of a coordinated strategy that people seem to be able to. It's so commonsensical. It's amazing. It hadn't been tried in the ways that it was there, and the results are, well, they're indicative of not just common sense, but how effective it is. But first, before you go into that strategy, I keep saying turnaround. We kind of can give that our own definition, but give the numbers of what you accomplished in New York City.
I'll give you 2 sets of numbers, if I may. 1990. There were over 700,000 reported crimes in New York City, including 2,246 murders, 143,000 car thefts, 6,000 people shot, over 100,000 homes burglarized, over 100,000 robberies. By 1994, under the administration of Dave Dinkins, and with the beginning of the hiring of more police, but only about 2,000 to 3,000 more, crime had gone down over that 3 to 4 year period by about 9%. But nobody felt different. Nobody noticed it. And one of the reasons they didn't was because the street situation had not changed. Nothing was being done about those quality of life offenses that people see every day. Because in a city with 700,000 crime victims, that's a city that on an average day has 11 or 12 million people in it. So the majority of citizens were not seeing and were not being victimized by crime. What they were seeing, or what they were fearful of, was those squeegee pests, aggressive beggars, street conditions, drunks, public urination. And that was something that the previous administration refused to do anything about because they just didn't recognize that that was, in fact, what was contributing to the fear. Mayor Giuliani, when he was elected, he had campaigned on the issue because he had understood that this is what people were concerned with. He was one of the first of the big city mayors to catch the wave that was coming in America, that after 25 years of very liberal policies, permissiveness, America was fed up. We were scared. We were losing our cities and we were beginning to lose our suburbs. And so he and a few other city mayors and some governors and a lot of police chiefs had come to understand we needed to do something about not only serious crime, but the quality of life issues. In 1994, when he was elected, I was hired as his police commissioner. And during the 27 months I was police commissioner, we got crime down 39%, including a 50% reduction in homicides. To the extent that in 1997, New York City is rated out of the 150 top cities in America, it's rated, I think, 143rd in terms of overall crime, meaning that 142 other cities have more crime per capita than New York. This year there'll be about 300,000 crime victims, down from 700,000. About 750 people murdered, about 2,000 people shot instead of 6,000, about 50,000 cars stolen instead of 143,000. Still very high numbers, but the good news is those numbers continue to go down.
In this, starting with this, let me again elaborate on this quality of life offenses. Some call it the broken window. You
That's
go
right.
after the little crime and you attach it. How does that work? And what was its impact on murder and drug running and all the rest of it?
Unfortunately, too many people think of it in too simplistic a term that just going after these quality of life offenses was what turned New York City around. No, that was one of 7 strategies that we ultimately developed. It was a linchpin strategy, in that by going after these little things, we in fact did have impact on every other type of crime. And let me explain. A group of kids hanging on the corner the last 20 years, increasingly emboldened to act up and misbehave, public drinking, etc., because the police never bothered them. And as violence became more commonplace, more and more people carrying weapons around, not being interfered with by the police, when those groups of kids hanging on the corner got drunk around 11 o'clock at night and started getting in each other's faces, out would come the guns and knives. And so what started off as a quality of life offense ended up as a murder, with a victim and a defendant. One of the things that's not really noted is that with those 1,500 people that won't be murdered in New York City this year, 1,500 people won't be going to jail for having committed those murders. Why? Because so many of those murders were in fact spontaneous, emotional incidents in which people who had been allowed to literally do whatever they wanted on the streets in New York, carry weapons, etc., now found themselves in spontaneous incidents that now escalated. So quality of life was a significant factor in dealing with what was going on in New York. But we also had gun strategies, drug strategies, auto theft strategies. We managed the police differently. New York City was being run as a 9-to-5 operation prior to 1994. The gun squads worked 9 to 5. The warrant unit worked 10 to 6. The drug units worked 16 hours a day, and during the 8 hours they weren't working, that's when the drug dealers came out and started selling again. You can't police America's streets on a part-time basis because competition, the criminals, they were out there 24 hours a day. No wonder they were winning and we were losing. If we were a business, we would have been bankrupt.
You say in the book, I'm listening to this, I'm thinking of the New York I knew, the New York that is now, just the enormity of the job, which one of your colleagues likened to turning an aircraft around in a bathtub. You said, yeah, and I'm going to do it with the speed of a destroyer. How did you, what were the very first steps? I mean, didn't you walk in the door the first day and say, oy vey? I mean, what, how did you start?
One, with political authorization. In the case of Dave Dinkins, he never would have authorized the police, as many American big city mayors would not have trusted their police to take back the streets. Giuliani, on the other hand, had seen the transformation in the transit police, in the transit subway system when I was chief, and with his law enforcement background, had a belief that the police could, in fact, be trusted and managed in a way that you could, citywide, take the city back, and do it in a way that you'd not end up with riots, and do it in a way that you'd not argue that one area is being favored over the other. And that's exactly what I espouse, that if you're going to do this, you do it everywhere at the same time. You don't just do it in the minority neighborhood or the white rich neighborhood. So we had political empowerment and authorization. And you need that because he had to coordinate the rest of city government to support us. But within the police department, you had leadership and management. And leadership was important because what I always express as a leader is optimism. If you have somebody a la Jimmy Carter back in the 70s that begins talking out loud about the public malaise, you're doomed to failure. And he basically doomed himself to failure. He got knocked out of office after 4 years. You literally, as a public leader, need to express optimism, but more importantly, you need to deliver on that optimism. And right from the get-go, my first remarks were upon my appointment. We will fight for every house, every block, every street, and we will win. And I think people now in New York City feel that we're winning.
It's Churchillian. You sound like Winston Churchill.
Actually, that was a line that I purposely used, the idea that what did Churchill do in World War II? He inspired. He not only managed and led, but he inspired. And that's what's missing in so many political leaders today, and so many police chiefs, definitely, that is it's so busy fighting the day-to-day crises that they lose track and sight of the responsibility to lead. And unfortunately, sometimes, though, and in my case, it's happened several times, if you become too inspiring and too much of a leader and too visible, well, then you start butting up against other leaders who are also seeking to be visible and inspiring. And that's eventually what ended up happening with the mayor and I. Instead of being able to partner up, we ended up in a media war, if you will.
Which you've been candid about, and we've covered this topic prior to your book. I'm sure you weren't listening to the show, but we are very interested here in where law enforcement is working, and could never understand, well, I mean, you chronicle it in the book. The book we're discussing is Turnaround with the former Commissioner of Police, William Bratton, who is no longer the Commissioner of Police, even after he did the turnaround in New York City, because Mayor Giuliani, whom I've been suspect of ever since he endorsed Mario Cuomo for governor, I still can't figure that one out, wanted to hog all the credit. He should have taken credit for hiring you in the first place. Wouldn't he have been rewarded by the voters enough for that?
Oh, I think so. I think that's a general consensus, but it's there were also behind the scenes extraordinarily strong managerial differences that the mayor saw himself as the police commissioner and saw me as his first deputy commissioner, reflective of his micromanagement style. He is an extraordinarily strong leader, tremendous capacity to lead, tremendous work ethic, but we had fundamental differences relative to the managing of the police department. He set out to subjugate it, I set out to lead it. And we had many a battle behind the scenes fighting over that issue. Who was going to control transfers, budgets, policy. And ultimately, I think I fought the good fight for 2 years and accomplished what I was asked to do, but couldn't save the NYPD from effectively being controlled once again politically by City Hall. Something that, ironically, Tammany Hall was eventually demolished for just that reason, because the police department was politically controlled by the politicians.
I want to pick up on the politics and see if the commissioner has any, we'll ask if he has any of his own political ambitions. We wish he did. These are the kind of people we need in office. Commissioner William Bratton, the book is Turnaround, How America's Top Cop Reversed the Crime Epidemic. Stay with us.
What
What would it be like to investigate one of history's greatest cover-ups?
Central Command, I'm at the Bastille looking at the face of the prisoner. He might be King Louis XIV's twin as reported.
Agent, I need positive face ID.
Can't give you that. He's wearing an iron mask.
Okay, I'm sending down a welder.
The History Channel presents The Man in the Iron Mask on In Search of History. The search is on, Monday night at 8 Eastern, 9 Pacific. Only on the History Channel, where the past comes alive.
I found them in my linen closet, and I got cash for them.
I never realized how valuable they were.
They're talking about gold, old dental gold, like caps, parcels, and bridges that just sit there while they could be turned into cash. Call 1-800-GOLD-KIT, and Lippincot's Dental Recycling Department will pay you top dollar for that dental gold. First, we'll send you our postpaid Recycle Gold Kit free. Next, we'll send you cash. Recycle for cash now. Operators are standing by at 1-800-GOLD-KIT. That's 1-800-GOLD-KIT.
Think. Who would you like to call this very minute? Your mom?
Your dad?
Your kid at college?
Your ex-wife?
Your mother-in-law?
Because you can make that call right now absolutely free. Yes, free. No strings attached, no hidden charges, no nothing.
All you have to do is dial 1-888-999-4381. That's 999-4381.
No, we're not crazy. We're Net2Phone. Yes, Net2Phone. The incredible new way to make long-distance calls without a long-distance phone company.
That's right. Goodbye, AT&T.
Adios, MCI.
Sayonara, Sprint. So call right now. 1-888-999-4381.
Net2Phone calls eliminate those huge long-distance bills because they're carried over the Internet.
But all you need is a telephone.
With Net2Phone, long-distance calls are as low as 8 cents per minute, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which is why Net2Phone will be saving American consumers, and that means you, up to $1 billion a year.
But don't take our word for it. Experience it for yourself this very minute, free, by calling 1-888-999-4381. That's 1-888-999-4381.
Your mother-in-law.
This Saturday, be at the First Assembly of God in Goldsboro for Celebrate Gospel 98. A barbecue supper starts at 4 p.m. A concert with the Anchorman and Reverend F.C. Barnes and Company starts at 7 p.m. Tickets for this benefit event are available at the Christian Soldier on Spence Avenue. For additional information, call 736-1979. Join Reverend F.C. Barnes, the Anchorman, the Deacons family, and the Goldsboro Chapel Bell Course this Saturday evening at 7.
Rush Limbaugh.
If you look at the federal government as a giant breast with multi-nipples,
sure,
and the various groups of people in this country who think that the purpose of federal government is to provide for them, we got people standing in line to suckle that nipple.
Right, and let me tell you from personal experience,
that's why
once you're latched on, it doesn't come off easily.
I wouldn't know.
Listen to the Rush Limbaugh program noon till 3, Monday through Friday. Hear what everybody's talking about on 1150 WGBR.
WGBR 1150.
When men were men, cops are cops. Cops are now cops again, thanks to Commissioner William Bratton. His book is Turn Around, How America's Top Cop Reversed the Crime Epidemic, and he did it not just with great strategies and courage, but in the face of, almost, what are we going to call it? I wouldn't call it the Peter Principle, but I'd call it egomaniacal interference by, as he just described, City Hall. You have political ambitions yourself, Commissioner?
I had taken a look after I had left the position of commissioner at possibly getting into the mayoral race that was underway in New York last year. And after taking a close look at it, just stepped away from it. It was not going to happen for me in that year. As to the future, I get this question all the time, and I always give the same answer. I keep my options open. I've made a conscious decision to go into the private sector, new challenges, develop new skills. And being quite frank with you, I'm enjoying myself, and at the same time still get to, as I'm doing with you today, comment on something I spent 25 years of my life involved in, which is trying to make America a safe place. And I intend to stay very active in that commentary role. As to what the future holds, well, who knows?
I wonder if you'd enjoy it. I mean, it's just
probably not.
Yeah,
To have to prostitute myself to get elected in terms of raising money doesn't particularly inspire me. like Colin Powell, I don't know that I have a fire in my belly. That maybe that's why I've always been an appointive official.
Well, let's just hold you out there as an inspiration and not put you in those compromising positions. But if you could have, let's say, a commentary position with an objective like General McCaffrey's, a drug czar, or some national project on crime reduction, what would be the first, if you could have a federal appointment, even if we just made it up, it doesn't have to be an existing one, what would be the first crime problem you would tackle as a nation? Because this is a big political issue. The Republicans are saying, Newt Gingrich is saying, well, everybody's been saying it for years, but they seem to be zeroing in on it. Drugs, drugs, drugs. So much crime emanates from drugs. Let's get serious about it. Is that? Would you agree?
If we're going to get serious about it, we need to get serious about drug treatment, about education, because we can be quite successful with the crime reduction, as we've seen in New York, but take it from a person who was there, that you can only get it down to certain levels, and then you're going to need to have other things happening. And I'm a big proponent of more drug treatment, because we do know it works for a certain number or percentage of the population. Education, we know works. When Bill Bennett was the drug czar, that we saw very significant declines in drug use, particularly among our young people with education. So if I had a magic wand to wave, it would be trying to convince Congress that some of the programs that are thought of as just midnight basketball pork, that many of these things American police chiefs would just as soon have as they would additional cops, because it's key to trying to reduce and prevent the problem from growing. And I know a lot of people are surprised sometimes that they think of me as very conservative on these issues, but I'm very conservative on use of the police. I think you can use the police more effectively, as we clearly did in New York, take back the streets and take them back safely. But there are other things that need to be done too, and I'm a firm proponent of some of the treatment and education programs.
Conservatives are coming around to this view of the legitimate distraction, I don't know what else to call it, keeping these kids off the street.
It is a distraction, but it's more the idea of changing behavior. What effectively went on in New York City and in Boston and other American cities is we are using police to control behavior in our streets to such an extent that we change that behavior. And what we're effectively doing is changing the learning environment. Our learning environment for 20 years was controlled by pimps and prostitutes and drug dealers, to one where now people can sit out in their front steps and participate in controlling the activities of the young kids on the street. And that was the conscious goal of what we did in New York, to literally take the streets back, like taking back the beaches of Normandy. And now the effort is to go into those houses where the drug dealers have been pushed, like we went into the hedgerows of France, and root them out there.
Well, you sound like Stephen Ambrose. Have you seen
Actually,
that?
I just read this book, Citizen Soldier. Great book. Great book.
Well, what would be the first thing if we could wave our magic wand and get you to be the police commissioner in our nation's capital? What would be the first thing you'd do?
Well, it's not going to happen with me. My police chief days are over, but what nation's capital needs is, number one, it needs an outsider, and it doesn't have to be a black. It can be a white. And I was very upset when the Financial Control Board listed that as their number one desirable feature, that it be a minority candidate. If that was the case, you're going to exclude about 95% of the candidates that might be interested in the job. And if we do it, you need a leader, you need a motivator, and you need one hell of a damn good manager. You got plenty of money now. Everybody wants the police department to succeed. You have plenty of cops after you get rid of a couple of hundred, the ones that shouldn't be on the job. And this is a 6-month classic turnaround. This thing is if I was still in the business of looking for a job, this is the one I'd take, because it's got all the elements of a success story. To blow the New York success story out of the water, because it is the nation's capital, and there's all the attention that would be focused on it. And all the elements are here to do it. And but you've got one opportunity to do it. The worst thing you could do is to pick the wrong person. Because if that person flounders, it's basically the malaise that's gripping the capital may become so all-consuming that you're down for the count.
Commissioner Bratton, you're the reason I don't want to rule out human cloning just yet. The book is Turn Around, How America's Top Cop Reversed the Crime Epidemic. Commissioner William Bratton, what an American hero. And I'm going to say pick up this book, not just because it's so good, but you can participate in a very meaningful way in the nation's top issue. We can't thank you enough, Commissioner. Have fun on your book tour, and if you ever get into politics, let me know. We'll be right back, friends, after this quick break.
And don't forget, if you'd like to get in touch with Mary, you can do so by faxing Mary at 703-413-8535. You can email Mary at marymcbs@cais.com or check out our website at www.cbsradio.com.
This Valentine's Day, send your sweetheart the most romantic gift they'll ever receive. Have a star named after them. For $45 and a call to 800-282-3333, the International Star Registry will send them a full-color parchment certificate, sky charts to locate their star, and a fascinating booklet on astronomy. The new star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Call 800-282-3333. The International Star Registry. 800-282-3333. A gift that lasts as long as your love.
Like to collect coupons? How about one that can save you 25%? At the JCPenney Super Weekend Sale, our 25% off coupon gives you 25% off regular price purchases. Come in Saturday and Sunday, ask for a coupon, and start collecting your favorite items store-wide for you, your kids, family, and home. Some exclusions apply. Hurry in to the JCPenney Super Weekend Sale for a 25% off coupon that will more than redeem itself. JCPenney. JCPenney.
Sleep just as well as you used to and feel better in the morning with Melatonex from SunSource. As we age, we gradually lose the melatonin our bodies produce to help us get a good night's rest, so sleep becomes more difficult. Drug-free Melatonex contains a form of the same natural melatonin, and time releases it gradually, the way our bodies do, for peaceful, restful sleep. Remember the name, Melatonex, and sleep better to feel better. Melatonex is available in pharmacy sections. Satisfaction guaranteed. Call toll-free 1-888-439-8300 for more information.
What would it be like to investigate one of history's greatest cover-ups?
Central Command, I'm at the Bastille looking at the face of the prisoner. He might be King Louis XIV's twin as reported.
Agent, I need positive face ID.
Can't give you that. He's wearing an iron mask.
Okay, I'm sending down a welder.
The History Channel presents The Man in the Iron Mask on In Search of History. The search is on, Monday night at 8 Eastern, 9 Pacific. Only on the History Channel, where the past comes alive.
What's it mean to be a dad? Ask a dad and ask a kid, and you're likely to get two different answers.
Well,
It means reading together.
it's being a dad.
It means taking me different places, to movies and stuff like that.
I mean, I think...
It means when my dad, takes me to basketball games.
Let's see, Dad,
It means also giving good hugs.
It's, it's bringing home a paycheck.
Just means spending time with me.
Every minute a dad spends with his kids makes a huge difference to them and to the world they'll grow up in. It's real simple. All it takes is time, and it takes a man to be a dad. Call 1-800-790-DADS for free, helpful information. A message from the National Fatherhood Initiative and the Ad Council.
Did you hear what Smokey said? Did you hear what Smokey said? I want to know if you heard what Smokey said. Smokey said only you.
This is Marty Stewart from my pal Smokey Bear, reminding you if you must burn debris or trash, do it safely. Check local laws on burning and never burn on dry, windy days.
He didn't say nothing about the girl next door. He didn't say nothing about the man down the street. Smokey didn't mention nobody else. Smokey said only you. Only you can prevent forest fires. Only you can prevent forest fires.
I want to know if you heard what Smokey said. Consider alternatives like composting, recycling, or hauling first. If you do decide to burn, please be safe.
I want to know if you heard what Smokey said. Oh, Smokey said only you.
This message from the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Advertising Council.
What an inspiration. You are going to love this book. You need this book. Turnaround, How America's Top Cop Reversed the Crime Epidemic. Commissioner William Bratton. Random House is the publisher. You won't regret it. That's it for Book World. Love ya.
This rose and the
Listen to the WGBR Morning Show through Friday, February the 13th for your chance to win during the Countdown to Valentine's Day contest when you hear a snippet of this song, A Rose and a Baby Ruth.
This rose and the baby Ruth.
Then be the designated caller and you'll win a rose from Baskets and Blooms, 1205 Wayne Memorial Drive, a Baby Ruth candy bar, along with a certificate for a prize from one of the participating sponsors. You could win a 7-inch 5mm pearl bracelet from Sasser's Jewelry, a $25 gift certificate from Berkeley Mall, 5 tanning visits, and a bottle of tanning lotion from Dream Makers, and a $40 gift certificate from Family Shoe Store, just to name a few. Win a gift certificate for your Valentine during WGBR's Countdown to Valentine's Day contest. Weekday mornings on WGBR.
Hear what everybody's talking about. 1150 WGBR Goldsboro.
It's time for a look at local news. I'm Thomas Vick on the 1150 WGBR. New predictions for the Neuse River. New reports indicate the river will crest at 24.5 feet late tomorrow afternoon, 6 feet less than levels reached during Hurricane Fran. The river now just over 22 feet. Local evacuations have begun. The Salvation Army has begun setting up evacuation shelters. No new road closures. However, more are expected over the next 24 hours. Goldsboro police say a George Street man killed himself yesterday morning by hanging himself with a fan belt suspended from a clothesline. According to police reports, 57-year-old John Wesley Hall of 1304 North George Street died just before noon. Chief Chester Hill said family members told authorities Hall was depressed and his health was declining. Police were called to the scene following an eyewitness account of Hall lying on the ground in the same position for over an hour. Investigator John Wiggins ruled out foul play. Local Red Cross officials are concerned about the current blood supply in the county. It's in critical status, and for some blood types, emergency is the story. Officials say critical means there's about a day's supply left, and emergency represents less than a half day. Those types in the critical category, O positive and negative. Those in emergency status, B positive and A negative. The control of hazardous waste and its effects on the public is a major concern at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. Officials emphasize the base is doing everything possible to control hazardous waste produced by the base from spilling into the environment. Great strides have been made in controlling such waste as a result of work with the Department of Defense and civilian agencies. Such strides include various composting projects and the cleanup of contaminated soil areas. The base has a goal to reduce hazardous waste 50% by the year 1999. Who we are, what we do, and why we're here. Director of Systems and Engineering for the Impulse plant in Mount Olive, Tom Young, will answer these questions as he addresses Mount Olive Chamber of Commerce February 19th at their Thursday Business at Breakfast. Young says he'll try and convince Chamber members that answers to these questions provide helpful insight on success in business. Interviews continue in the search for a new general manager for the Walnut Creek Country Club. Board President Martell Scott said yesterday a decision on who the new director will be is expected by the end of this month. Walnut Creek Country Club's general manager for over 13 years, David Watson, has resigned. Watson told the board he felt it was time to give up the manager's position so he could have time for other things. And Colonel Al Cronk, commander of the 916th Air Refueling Wing, gave the Scott Berkeley chapter of the Air Force Association a briefing at their regular meeting this week. Cronk pointed out the Air Force Reserve Organization has been in existence 50 years. Formed April 1948, it's 73,000 strong. 64% of its membership are active reservists. 86% have prior service. Their flying squadron, the 77th, has history dating back to 1943. Their first activity was the Korean War. The Air Reserve has been involved in every conflict since. The Air Force Reserve represents 4% of the total Air Force budget and contributes 20% of Air Force activity. 15% of their activity is in air refueling missions. The Reserve has added many elements, including B-52 activity. There are plans to add a fighter associate mission, which may result in some activity here at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. The local organization has 812 members assigned to the 916th Air Refueling Wing. The next meeting, May 6th, an Air National Guard briefing will be held. That's a look at local news. I'm Thomas Vick on 1150 WGBR.
Hi, it's me, Mrs. Air. You know, the stuff you breathe. I'm glad I finally got some airtime because something's bothering me, and it could affect your child's health. It's asthma, a disease that's leaving many children, possibly yours, out of breath. See, a lot of these kids who have asthma don't know it. So take it from Mrs. Air, someone who knows lungs from the inside out. Here are the symptoms you moms and dads should look for. Does your child often become short of breath? Have a cough that won't go away? Or wheeze a lot, especially at night or after running around? Then it could be asthma, which is serious. Your child could die from it. So take your kid to see a doctor. With the right treatment, asthma can be controlled. That way your child can lead a normal, active life. You know, jumping on beds, swinging from curtains, just making you crazy.
Breathe easier. Ask a doctor if it's asthma. A message from the National Asthma Education and Prevention Program.
Students from 31 countries need host families here in America. For information, call 1-800-SIBLING. That's 1-800-SIBLING.
Tonight on WRAL TV5 News. Last year, lawmakers demanded all North Carolina public schools be held accountable for teaching.